guys, and welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my favorite brushes and just a little bit of like what brushes to use for what. So I really hope that this is helpful to you guys. Brushes is something that I had to learn along the way, just because when you first start off you don't really think about it, but honestly once you find what works for you and how you can work with them, they're the best thing in the world. So if you guys are interested in learning about that, then go ahead and keep watching. Bye! Okay, so I would like to start off by telling you guys about the sections that I have for my makeup brushes and all that fun stuff. First off, we have my pencil brushes here. Pencil brushes are the ones that have a very fine tip to them. So if you can see, they're very small, very precise, and this one is my favorite because it comes to a point and it's really helpful to target small areas like the contour of the eye or anything like that. Are my favorite to doing my bottom lash line with because they just get right into the bottom part of the eye, and it's so easy to blend out the lash line and to blow out and bring it down and smoke it, and it looks so good. These are my three favorites. This is the Morphe M441 pencil brush. As you can see, it's just nice and small, and like I said, it comes to a nice little point. The other one that I like is, and I wish that Colourpop had names to brushes, but it's just a Colourpop pencil brush, nice and small, and it's fluffy. It's not super dense, which I like because then the more dense a brush is, the better it is at packing, but not at blending. It's the perfect blend of both. But I love Real Techniques. All three of these are Real Techniques brushes, and I love the small ones because these are the ones that I use when I want to get really tight into the inner corner, when I just want to have like a hint of black and I don't want the black to overpower anything. This one is my savior. This is the accent brush, and I just used it today to do like my inner corner, the darkness in the inner corner and the darkness in the outer corner, as well as the ones from the bottom lash line. And I used this one. This is the Smudge brush. I don't really use it for smudging, but I mean, you can when you have a liner and you just want to blow that liner out. I use this one for my inner corner and for my brow bone highlight. And I just love this one because it's so dense that it can really pack in that highlight and make your highlight just beam. And this one is a really good one. This is the Precision Smudge brush. Again, I don't really use it for smudging because for smudging I just use any other brush. But it's still really good for those small details like that inner corner, that bottom lash line, especially if you're trying to get a deeper color right at the root of the lash line. This is your guy. Alright, so packing brushes. These are my two favorites. Honestly, there are a lot of packing brushes out there, but for the price of these, you can't beat them. These are the Wet n Wild brushes, and I don't have the names for them. Actually, I will. If you go down in the description box, I'll have them down there, so don't fear. But this is a really good packing brush. I love using it when I'm using shimmers. Super packed and condensed with the bristles, and it's really soft as well, and I haven't had any issues with them falling apart or anything. So this one is my guy. This one is a little bit, I think this one's the concealer brush, but I use it for packing on shimmer, and it's just a lot tinier and skinnier than this one is. It works like a charm. Going into my blending brushes, I think I have the most blending brushes, more than I have anything else, because I love blending brushes. Like most of the time, I'll just use one blending brush for my whole eye look and I'll be good. But that's when I'm being really lazy. So I have a few right here. This one is probably my favorite one because, like, again, you can't beat the price for this. This is the Wet n Wild, I think it's called a blending brush, I'm not sure. But it's just so fluffy, and again, it's so soft, and I've had it for a while now, and I don't feel like it's gonna go stiff. I used it for my eye again today. It blends the color. It also is really good at packing the color when you just go and stamp it in. So I love this guy, so good. Again, MAC 217 is a really good option. You just have to keep taking really good care of it so that it doesn't go bad on you quickly. But this is really great. So this one has like smaller bristles on the sides, and it has bigger bristles at the top. So it goes kind of into a tapered end like that. And I really like that because that means that you can get a really good blend out of this brush. And you can get the color. I like to mostly use the color out here because then most of the color is going to catch on the side, which is going to make it really get that pigment down. But then because the bristles that are longer are at the top, then it's just going to be automatically blending that color out for you. So 217 is awesome. Another option for the MAC 217 that I really like, and I mean they're pretty similar. This one is the Morphe M441, and it's longer, but it has that same idea, you know, like the smaller bristles at the side and the longer ones at the top, and it's just gonna do the job for you. It's gonna blend any color out for you, and you barely have to do any work. So I really like this one. I think I like the shape of this one more because it's rounded rather than just cut at the top. So this one I like to just go in and do inner corner to outer corner, small circle motions. And with this one is more like the windshield wiper motions, but love those. The last blending brush that I have is the Real Techniques Base Shadow Brush. And I love this guy. I probably have used this guy more than any other brush in my collection. It hasn't gone bad at all, and I've had it for a really long time. No bristles have fallen out, and because it is a synthetic brush rather than like a natural hair brush, retains the softness better, because these two I feel like they have been getting a little bit prickly as I've been using them longer. I mean, I still take good care of them, but still, like, you can never go wrong with a synthetic brush because they will not lose their softness. All right, now we can move into my face brushes. Let's do foundation brushes first. So I am not a brush girl when it comes to foundations. I love using my sponge because I feel like I just like sponges better. That's the end story. But if I do have to use a brush, I always go for this one. This is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, and it just does such a good job at blending that foundation out, and it doesn't make it look streaky, which is the #1 issue I have with brushes. It's really dense, so you know that your product is not going to be seeping into the brush, so really easy to wash as well for targeting those like hard to reach places like the corners of your nose. Really good to getting into the ear because you always want to be blending into the ear, but it's awesome. I have my two handy dandy contour brushes here. This is the e.l.f. contouring brush, and it's kind of like the NARS something brush, but I love the straight edge, and it's super inexpensive because it's e.l.f. and it makes it super easy for you to just go in and cut. And even if you didn't want to use it for a contour and you use like a really fluffy brush, like say you just use a fluffy brush to contour with, if you want to bake and get that like sharp bake underneath to brighten this area up because you've like bronzed it too much, this is your guy as well. I love it. It makes your job so easy. This is the other guy that I like to use, and I love it because it has a slant to it. You see how like me? So this is the sculpting brush by Real Techniques. And same deal with this one. They're both really good and really easy to work with. I kind of like this one a little bit better just because it's a little bit fluffier, so it makes the blending job easier, rather than this one. I mostly use it just to do the placement, and then I'd probably go in and blend it out with this one. So if you just want one brush, go with this one, but this one's still a really good one. Setting brushes. These are my only two setting brushes that I have, and the only ones that I will recommend. These are the setting brush by Real Techniques, and like you see, I have two of them. One is for setting my under eye, and this one I actually use for contouring. I know that we already spoke about those two other contouring brushes, but this one I have discovered that I love it for my powder contour because I just get my contour and I target it right where I want it in like that outer portion, and then I go in with my bronzer brush and I blend it all out, and it just, the placement is beautiful. It makes it so that it's not muddy and it just looks great. With my bronzer. So these are the two ones that I have been using the most. This one, I'm kind of torn about this one, but I still want to talk about it because I have been using it in pretty much all my videos. This is the Revlon Powder brush. I love how fluffy and big it is. I think that's the main reason why I love it so much, is because it's not dense at all. It's really fluffy, and it makes it so that your product just picks up and it's a perfect application every time. The one thing I don't like about this is that it sheds like crazy. I wish it didn't shed so bad, but it does, and I guess I'm okay with it just because I have been getting so much use out of it that I kind of justify it that way. But still, if you are wanting your brushes to just stay put and not shed, this is probably not the one for you, but still I use it because the application on it is great. Another good alternative is the Wet n Wild powder brush, and you can see how this one is like fatter. Oh, I love doing that, but this one is still pretty good. I mean, the application with this is going to be relatively the same as this. This still is pretty good. You're not going to struggle to blend your powders out, your bronzer out. I love this. And the price, I mean, yes. So for blush, I have these two guys. This is the Morphe M441 and the Wet n Wild blush brush. And I love both of them. I like that this one is a ton, like 10 times fluffier than this one is. But this one I like because I can target the blush better. So they have their pros and cons. I think the main thing that differs from the two of them is the natural hair versus the synthetic hair. I'll always would rather go for synthetic hair with anything else, but when it comes to my blush, I think I like the natural hair better, and that's just because it makes it so that there's a more natural wash of color rather than like boom, pigment everywhere. I mean, if you're looking for something that's really inexpensive, this one's your go. But again, this is Morphe, so it's not going to cost a ton, and it's still a pretty good brush. So definitely recommend both. Oh, we're getting there. Highlighting brushes. This one's pretty easy. Normally, this was my guy. This is the one that I'll always be true to. This is the Morphe M510. I love this guy because it's so fluffy, and it just picks up the highlight beautifully, and it's not a concentrated kind of fluff. It's just like you see, I can squish it down, and it's so cute. But it's beautiful for like targeting that highlight, blending it out so you don't have a streak, and it's beautiful. But because I haven't had this one like right in front of me lately, I've been going in with this blush brush by e.l.f. and I mean, it's a ton bigger than the Morphe. Then I'll just take the highlight on the very tip, and then when I'm putting it down, then it's already blending itself out for me, which is why I have been liking to use it, but I do miss using my Morphe one. But this one's still pretty good. Okay, to my last brushes. My voice is kind of going away. These ones are kind of an experiment brush for me. I really like them though. At first I did not like them because I was just not used to how they worked, but I'm glad that I kept with them because now I really like them, and I applied my foundation with them today. These are the paddle brushes, I think they're called. They're the Royal and Langnickel brand, and I'll link it all in the description box below. But the first time I used it, the reason why I didn't like it is because I had my peach fuzz that I hadn't taken off my face yet, and so I was going like and so my peach fuzz was just like sticking out everywhere, and even after I had tried like combing it down, it was still a mess. So I was like, no. But later I tried it again, and I made sure to moisturize my skin really well after I had taken off my peach fuzz, and I have loved it ever since. Like it makes it so easy, and the pigment of your foundation is there when you use it. You have to use very minimal foundation because it spreads it out so easily, and I'm glad that I gave these guys a try. But they are so fun, and the same thing with this little brush. I mean, it comes in a set of 4, but these are the two that I use the most, and this one's for foundation and this one I use for my concealer. You'll notice that I don't have like concealer brushes, and that's because I would be more willing to use a sponge than a brush. But again, if I have to use a brush, this will be it. Okay guys, that is it. Those are all my brushes that I use, and I hope that it helps you a little bit more in understanding how each brush works and what will work for you and what you should be getting as well. But other than that, I hope you guys are having a great day. Please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and also watch my other videos here. And if you like this makeup that I'm wearing, I'm going to be uploading a tutorial for it really soon. So just keep your eye out for it, and I hope you guys have a great day. That's it. Bye.